So our first stop on this tour will be right next to the hotel that you see up on the cliff there. That's our old Hyatt Tereraa hotel. Unfortunately, the Hyatt sold the hotel to a private investor who closed this hotel. This used to be the most beautiful hotel of our island. It has been closed since 1998, and now unfortunately it is just left to fall apart. But our next stop is next to it, where usually from there we have a nice view of Moorea and part of Papeete. I guess today we will only be able to see the Radisson Hotel. The Radisson Hotel is what you see now on the left hand side. Now, are you familiar with all of our trees as we drive by? Do you know all the trees that you see? No, you don't? Okay, so I will point out to you as we make the next turn, the row of big trees. Make the next curve, you will start to see the Matavai Bay. The Matavai Bay is also called here the Explorer's Bay. This is the bay where Captain Samuel Wallis, when he first anchored here, he anchored in the Matavai Bay when he discovered Tahiti in 1767. After him, the Anglican Protestant missionaries also anchored here in this bay. And our next stop will be the Point Venus, where we are going at the end of the bay there. And you know that the Point Venus was named by Captain Cook while he was here. He was studying at this point, and he was here to study the distance of transit between the planet Venus and the Sun. So as we walk to the beach, now I showed you our native hibiscus tree. And if you look as we are driving, you see this tree almost everywhere. Early in the morning, the flower is that yellow. And as the day ends, the flower slowly changes color. From yellow, it becomes orange until it becomes a little bit red. And then it falls on the ground. This is a tree that is very much used until today. Our ancestors used the leaves for plates, and today when we go on a picnic, we still use the leaves for plates. After we clean them in the ocean, we have a certain way to put it together, and in the back we weave the stems, so it all holds together. So we use that for plates. The dried flowers were used by our ancestors for making their tea. And it is with the bark of that tree that most of the tapa cloth was made. You know what is the tapa cloth? The cloth that our ancestors used to cover themselves with. So to make the tapa, they used to take a piece of the bark, and after they soak the bark in the ocean 24 hours, then you take the rough part of the bark off, and you start pounding on the bark, on wood with wood. You pound on it until it becomes fiber-like. And then again, just like the pandanus leaf, you have to dry it in the shade. So it is with the bark of that tree that they made most of their tapa. And then it is with the bark of that tree that when you will see our dancers, you know, when you will see a Tahitian group dancing for you, and you call their skirts grass skirt, from now on you will call it mare. It's called in Tahitian a mare, and it is made with the bark of that tree, so it's not made with grass. It's made with the bark of that tree. And then at last, you know, the wood of this tree is the lightest wood that you can find here. So we still make all our paddles with this wood. We make the outriggers for our canoes with this wood, and anything that we really want to be floating well is made with the wood of the burro. This hibiscus in Tahitian is named the burro. Now this is on the left hand side the Protestant church of Papen'o. Then you have here the Catholic church of Papen'o. And on the right hand side, when you see the flags, this is the city hall of Papen'o, here on the right hand side. And the next road on the right is the one that will take you very deep inside the most beautiful valley of our island. So this is the Papen'o Valley, and also you will see the Papen'o River. The Papen'o River is one river that divides into two just before reaching the ocean. At the time of Captain Cook, while he was visiting here, it was one very deep river. Our ancestors used to go up and down this river on their double canoes. And inside of that valley, 3 villages were settled. And it is a priest from this valley here who came up with a bright idea for our ancestors. You know that at the time when they had many kings here, they were fighting against each other, and the way they estimated the wealth of their district was by the number of canoes that they had. So every time they were at war, they would go and destroy the canoes of their enemies. So a priest from this valley came up with an idea of building the canoes with parts, making all parts that they tie together. And while they were doing this, each family were granted a certain part of the canoe. So when the priest would feel that they would be attacked, he would ring the alarm, everyone gather, and everyone who was in charge of a part of the canoe will go and undo his part and go and hide it. So when the attackers arrived, they had no canoes to destroy, they only destroyed the homes. And so they tied their canoes with ropes that were made with the dry fiber of the coconut husk. And to cork everything, they used the sap of the breadfruit tree that they mixed with some coconut husk, that they powdered the coconut husk. They mixed that very well, and this is what was used for corking at the time. So when you go to visit the Museum of Tahiti and the islands, you will see a couple of canoes that are made like that. So you will know why it is made like that. So it's time I teach you a little bit of Tahitian. You know, Tahitian is very easy because we use only 13 letters of the alphabet. And we use mostly vowels. I'm sure you have noticed everything that is written in French and in Tahitian. There is a big difference in the number of vowels. And for us Tahitian people, every word that is important is only made up of vowels. For example, for our ancestors, the fish, and until today, the fish is an important word because, you know, that's what they fed themselves with all the time. So in Tahitian, to say fish, it is eia, and you write eia. Our e in Tahitian is e, and it is also our yes. You know, if someone asks you a question, you want to say yes in Tahitian, you just say e. E is yes, and aita is no. But the important word here, especially today, it is to be oa oa. You know, oa oa? Oa oa is our word for happy. And you write oa, oa. So we are going to be oa oa no matter what, because look, it's clearing up. It looks like it's clearing up. And so if we put on our mana oa oa, you know the mana? The mana for our ancestors is the power and the spirit. So if we switch on our mana oa oa, I'm sure we can chase all the clouds. By the time we reach the ship again, it will be nice. Probably, you know, can keep it for more than a week inside our fridge. Then this flower that has red and white on, this is also a variety of ginger. Then you have the red and pink here, that's also a variety of ginger. We have many different varieties of ginger flowers here. And you have some varieties that are fragrant and some varieties that are not. And why are they put in the same family of plants? Because if you pull all of these plants, you will see that all the roots look the same. Now you see all these chickens free, and you will see this on the outside islands. Oh, I must tell you, you don't have to worry about anything when we walk to the waterfall. We have no snakes here. We have no poisonous spiders. We have many spiders, but none of it is poisonous. So don't worry about the insects or about probably meeting with a snake. The only wildlife that we have here is the wild pig. And you know the wild pig will not come where we have too many houses. So we don't have to worry at all about all of this as we are walking. Now you see here we have many different varieties of bananas as well. This is why the bunches of bananas don't look exactly the same, because it's a different variety. And we do have one variety here that is different from all the others. And this is our native yellow banana. It is called in English the plantain. It is different from all the other varieties already by the way it grows. This one, when the bunch starts on the tree, instead of looking to the ground, the bunch looks straight up to the sky. And as the banana ripens, it becomes bright orange. And it's a banana that you cannot eat unless it is cooked. Now on the right here you have a tree with some fruits. This tree is the rambutan. I don't know if you heard of the fruit of the rambutan. The rambutan is very much like a lychee, except that the skin has a lot of hair on it. But once you peel it, then you can taste it. It is very sweet and very delicious. This is the one again here on the right hand side. So the fruits will ripen in about a month. Now here, the big trees that you see on the right hand side here. This big tree, if you look on the ground, we have some fruits. These big trees are our chestnut. It is not a native tree from... It is a good beer, you know, we won the medal prize in Paris 4 years ago. So it cannot be a bad beer. This is the Hinano beer. So we eat our mape with that. And we will walk to the waterfall that you see here on the right hand side. It is really not far, so the only thing we have to worry is about sliding or being slippery. So just go slow and make sure that to look where you put your feet.
You missed the waterfall.
This here on the right is a Mormon church. And again, you see on the left there another motu. All our motus are privately owned. So before you plan on visiting a motu, you have to find the owner to ask if it is possible to go on that motu. We only have one motu that has been kept for the public, and it is the one that is right next to the Point Venus. Now here in Mataya, and just like in Papeari, these are the two districts of our island where you cannot purchase any alcohol in any store. The only place you can have some alcohol when you are in those two districts is when you are in a restaurant. Otherwise, no store is allowed to sell any alcohol here. The people who want to drink have to drive to the next district and purchase their alcohol. Of course, I need not tell you that these are the two districts where we have the less crime rate. And you know, after the arrival of the Anglican Protestant, the Catholics arrived also. And the Catholics, when they first came, they built their churches, like the one that you see on the left-hand side here. This church is built all with coral blocks. This is why the blocks are uneven. In our lagoon, we have, of course, many corals. We have one type of coral that becomes huge blocks, and it is the only soft coral. You can walk on this block of coral barefoot. You can touch it bare hand without hurting yourself. So it is this coral that was taken out of the ocean, cut into smaller blocks, and they built 5 churches. Today we only have 2 churches left like this. The 3 others were not allowed to go and get some coral to repair. This one and the next one that you will see in Paea were allowed to repair only because they did not need so much coral for repairs. Or the 3 others were too badly damaged. So this is why the government did not allow them to get. Starting from here, this is where we start to have more flat land. So as we drive closer and closer to Papeete, you will see that you will see more homes. Here in Papara, to perform here, to coming to participate at all of our dancing, singing, and all the events that we have during the Heita. It is the interesting event is the weaving event. You know, if you are interested with weaving, then you can learn many new designs and many new patterns by just looking at them weaving. So you have just on the left hand side the end of our surfing beach here in Papara. Even though the surf is not so high, it still is good, because during the dry season the waves here are real big. It can go up to about 3 meters high, so it is real big. So during our just before we celebrate our festival here, of course we elect our Miss Tahiti. We have our Miss Tahiti contest. That is a very interesting one, only for one reason. I know that you have all seen some beauty contests and they are all almost the same. One exception here is that each contestant has to parade in front of the people in an outfit that is all made 100% with natural fibers or leaves or flowers. So you should see the outfits that they can make. You know, some make only with flowers, some make only with leaves or with the bark of the trees. They weave it and they decorate it with black pearls. I mean, you name it, they have some magnificent outfits. And this is the only reason I go to look at the Miss Tahiti contest, to look at all the beautiful outfits that they make. Here in Papara tereraa, we also have most of our agriculture farms here. You start to see a greenhouse. In this greenhouse, they are planting roses, tomatoes. Look at the waterfall on the right hand side there, high from way up high on the mountain. And we are making our entrance in the small town of Papara. So the building that you see on the right hand side is a gymnasium so that the young can come and do their sport here. Then you have a Protestant temple on the left-hand side. Then just past this commercial center on the right, you will see the City Hall of Papara. This one was built with a little colonial style. And then on the left-hand side again, this bits to take a contraception. So of course, they listen to the word of God and they keep on having children. Now that it is becoming a problem because life is so expensive here and it is hard for the people to survive with so many kids, now the people who direct all the different churches have got together and are talking about allowing contraception so that the people, the families will not be as big as what they still are today. So maybe now you are ready to take my recipe for the auta. Are you ready for this recipe? I'm sure that at the restaurant they served tuna. You know, the tuna is the best fish, we know that. But us locals here, we use any kind of fish. The only thing you have to know is that when you use a white flesh fish, then you know it is a little bit less tender than the pink tuna. So you soak it in salty water for at least 1 hour before you prepare your fish. But if you use a tuna, all you need to do is to prepare all the ingredients that you are going to mix with your fish first. So once you have prepared your garlic, your onion, tomato or cucumber, then in a bowl, you start to cut your fish and you put it in a bowl. After all your fish is cut, you salt generously. When you try it with your finger, it has to be very salty. Once you have done that, you add all the ingredients that you are going to mix with. Then you take a couple of lime juice and you squeeze the lime juice over it. Once you have put the lime juice, you must keep an eye on your fish. You will see that your fish from pink is already starting to become grayish. Then you add your coconut milk and you mix and you serve right away. This is a dish that you must mix 5 minutes before you are going to have your dinner. Because the longer the fish stays in that sauce, it will continue to cook. So after your dinner, if you have some leftovers, do not keep the fish in the sauce. You put it in a colander and you gently squeeze all the juice out. Then you store it in your fridge. The next day, all you need to do is to add about half a lime juice, a little bit more coconut milk, and there you have a fresh dish again. Now believe me, you don't need a fresh coconut milk. The canned coconut milk is delicious also to prepare with. I prepared my auta in Hawaii for 12 years with canned coconut milk, and it is as good as the fresh milk. So this is simply how we prepare our auta here. have the people on the side of the road there on the left. All these people are coming to fill up their plastic bottles with water. You know, because we have many springs all around the island, the government installed some pipes that they tap directly into the rock. This way the water is always clean, and they brought the pipes all the way to the road so that everyone can come and fill up their bottles with water. And it is clean water. Even when it rains, the water is still clean because it is all filtered through the rocks to the aquatic nap. So our stop here is the Mar'a Grotto Fern. This is not a place that was very used by our ancestors. Actually, they were very afraid to come here because they used to think that all the evil spirits lived inside that cave. It does not go too far deep in, and the water there is only about 6 meters deep. It is fresh water here.
Sacred place. Walking.
You know, the first man, I will say this in the bus also, but the first man to swim in here was Paul Gauguin.
Oh, Paul Gauguin, what's the name?
The first man to swim because our ancestors were afraid to come here.
Oh.
Yes.
Is the water cold?
Oh yes, it's fresh water, like the river water. And so after Paul Gauguin swam here, then he will come back into the water.
It'll take a little bit of getting used to, I think.
Ariella wants to jump in. I can come out of it. Yes,
It's great.
The tallest mountain here, Mount Uruhina, is 2,000.
You wear a hat, and the water that comes off doesn't count for blessing.
For 1,000.
It's just that water's really cold, it's fresh water.
1,000
The
feet
natives would
means
never swim in it,
300.
and that Gauguin came and he swam in it. He didn't die, so
2,300 meters.
they converted to Christianity.
So it is starting around here on the left. Like I said earlier, we cannot see the white sand beaches here, but starting from here and all the way until you reach the airport, just before the airport where we have the Sofitel Maeva Beach Hotel, that's where our white sand beaches stop. So only here on this side. And you see all the people build all these walls on the side of the road. Like I tell you, this is to protect themselves from the traffic noise. It's very heavy traffic starting at 4:30 a.m. And so before I continue and I start to tell you something that you probably don't want to know, who knows, I want to ask you if you have any question. I would rather answer your questions first and then turn on my tape recorder. How's it? Do you have any question? No, I say too much already, you know everything. All right, this is great. You will be. Unfortunately, I don't know too much about the neighbor islands, you know. The furthest I have been in our islands is Raiatea. Past Raiatea I have never seen. So, you know, there are so many islands, it's hard to go and visit all the islands. And the airplane ticket to go and visit the islands here, it's almost as expensive as going to LA. You know, if you go to the Marquesas Island from here, you purchase your ticket here, airline ticket, it is as expensive as a ticket going from Papeete to Los Angeles. Yes, the reason for that is because the planes are smaller and I don't know, they don't know how to make low prices like the American people, you know? So that's why. Now, of course, I cannot let you go and visit our islands without telling you everything about our coconut tree. You know that for our ancestors, the tree of life was the coconut tree. It is the only tree that they used everything. And you know, the coconut itself was used at many different stages of maturity. So with the bark and the root of the coconut tree, they used to prepare their traditional medicine. Then the trunk of the coconut tree was used for making furniture, but mainly for making the poles of their homes. And of course, you know, the coconut leaf is woven to make baskets, hats, and all other little things that you want. You can even weave a crown with the leaves of the coconut tree. Then the coconut, you have to know that to drink the coconut water, to taste the coconut water, you must have a green coconut. If you drink the water from a dry coconut, it is not as good as the green coconut. So after you drink the water of your green coconut, it is not lost. If you split this coconut in half, you will see that the meat inside is soft. You can eat it with a spoon. This is what we use for desserts, or this is what we give our babies because it is very loaded with vitamins and minerals. Then when you wait a little, here we use the coconut at all the different stages. So when we wait a little just before the coconut is going to be dry, we pick our coconut and we prepare a mixture that is called in Tahitian the mitihue. We grate the coconut, we get some good ocean water, and we ferment the coconut inside that ocean water in a gourd, and we put 2 shrimp heads inside. We let it ferment overnight. The next day you just filter this, it becomes a sauce, a milky sauce. We just filter it, and this is what we dip our traditional food in. We always eat it, we always have that mitihue in a bowl, and we dip our fish, we dip our taro or our uru with that. But if you ever have the opportunity to try the mitihue, you have to remember that it is best if you season it. Of course, a little salt and pepper and some hot sauce is also real good with your mitihue. Then, of course, when the coconut is dry, that's the time that we grate it and squeeze the milk out. And if we don't use it that way, then we just take French authorities. It is not really us who make this decision about the paperwork, because when you are a foreigner, you cannot just come and live here without all your paperwork. So it's better that you do all your paperwork before you even start to come here and buy a land. You do not see any real estate signs here. Not too many places are for sale, that's the reason. But if you really look for something, you just need to open our local newspaper, and there you will find everything that is for sale. So see on the left, it's Moria. We are lucky that it's all cleared up. See, good on you. Your mana oa oa is very powerful. I hope you will remain oa oa this way, because then for your cruise you will chase all the clouds away. So just after the OPT sign that you have on the left hand side there, this is the City Hall of Fa'a'a. Just there on the left you have the City Hall of Fa'a'a. And just after Fa'a'a, we will be right back in Papeete, 2 minutes away from your ship. You know, they are calling because of the drill. You have to go on your drill at 4 o'clock, so you know, they have to remember that they are in Tahiti and you are on vacation, so you must be on Tahitian speed. We cannot rush you. I disagree to rush anyone that is on vacation. So we do not rush you. Thank you. Voila, as we make this turn here, you start to see the port of Papeete on the left hand side. So you see all these people that sell the fresh fish on the side of the road. That's the only way that they can make money here. Because even though we have a high unemployment rate, we do not have a welfare system here. So everyone has to find their food and find their way for making money. So these people go fishing early in the morning and they come back on the side of the road around 3 o'clock, because this is the time when most people finish work. So on the way home, we stop, we buy our fish. By 6:30 p.m. there will be no more fish on the side of the road. Of course, it will be all sold. So we don't have a welfare system, but we do have a great healthcare system here. I do think that it's a great one. It helped me a lot. We do not have any private health insurance here. So every employer and every employee has to put money into the social services. On the left hand side here, this is the Sheraton Hotel. Excuse me, I had to point it out. So we all put money into the social services. When we are sick, we pay 20% of the doctor's bill and the medication, and the social services pays 80%. Now, everyone that is unemployed here is covered by the social services 100%. It may seem unfair for all the ones who work, but you know, I was in this situation coming back from Hawaii after getting divorced. For almost 2 years, I could not find a job. I was very happy when I was sick that I could be going to the doctors and be covered 100%. So today that I have a job, I'm not unhappy to pay a lot of money to the social services, because we do pay a lot of money to the social services, because it does help the ones that do not find a job. Knowing how hard it is to find a job, it really makes me happy to be a part of this system also. So here we are back in Papeete. Just after the stop sign, on the right hand side you have a soccer field. Then across from the soccer field is our Olympic pool.